Hey there, my lovelies on Instagram. Hello there, my lovelies on Facebook. It is so good, so good, so good to see you and so good to be here with you. We are here with you every single Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm Donna Hoffman. They call me the interior design advocate because I erase the ugly room, get rid of the confusion in that gorgeous brain of yours. You are so talented and you are so capable, but what you are missing is something that we offer here in one of our brands. On our online design education brand, we teach you strategy, what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and why to do it. And I'm honored to have been called one of the country's leading interior design coaches because I love to coach DIY design lovers, women working on your own home, to help you move the needle and create things that you never thought you could or would. And when I'm not doing that, I am running a luxury interior design company where we are working across all manner of styles. In fact, Katie and I were just taking a look at something that's going to be delivering in Philadelphia in a condo. Very boho, very cool, kind of, it's actually boho Paris. That's kind of the trend that we're following along with in that particular project. Little different step out for our company, which is so fun as a designer to be able to do different things. But here's the point. When you understand strategy, you can do anything. Because strategy is strategy is strategy. So help me strategy. And you don't have to worry about, will this work? Will this not work? There's no guesswork. Strategy is what you lean on. I have a weird picture happening here on Insta. So hang on. Hopefully it's a little less crooked. I don't know. Anyway, so what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about trends. And we're talking about the design trends for 2020 into 2021. And I know that trends can make, design lovers like you and me and the clients that we work with as well, all my students as well. Trends can get people excited, but also a little nervous, thinking, oh my gosh, am I out now? Did what I do last year or 3 years ago, is it done? Am I baked? Here's the thing, and when I teach about trends, I'm not teaching about trends today, I'm going to talk to you about trends, but I'll just give this preamble to say, trends do not just start and then stop. It's not a single trend line. There's not just one trend that's ever happening at any one time. There are always multiple trends happening and they develop. And as they're developing, they don't just do this in a straight line. They can start to take off and then they can level out and then they can start to take off again and then they take a turn and they start to twist. They start to morph, right? So they don't just stop. We can usually predict when a trend is going to stop. So what we're talking about today are some of the key trends that we're seeing for 20 and 21 that we expect to see happening for a while, have good longevity. And I've got a great blog post that talks about 3 of the trends and how to use them in your home. So the link is in the description for Facebook and link in bio for you on Instagram, though we are so close to having a swipey feature. I think we're like 150 followers away from having the swipe right or swipe left or just keep swiping. So who knows? But anyway, but for now, link in bio. All right, so what are some of the key trends for 20 and 21? Well, when you talk about trends, you can talk about design styles. You can talk about design color. You can talk about design flourishes. You can talk about just kitchen and bath design, right? So I'm going to keep it a little more general to design in total, but if you have a question for me, as long as I don't need to look at a picture, if you have a question about trends, I'm happy to take your topic related question on trending. And as long as I don't need to see a picture to answer you, happy to do that. So what are some of the key trends that we started to see sprinkling in some of the shows last year? We're seeing it continue to happen, certainly in all the showrooms, etc. now. So one of them is called Biophilia. It's just this beautiful natural entry into a space, natural elements entering a space. So what does that translate into? Well, yeah, a lot of plants, right? We're seeing all the great big fiddly figs continuing, right, in some of the interiors that you see shot by professional designers and succulents and so forth. But in terms of rugs, in terms of fabrics, we're seeing these big oversized leaf patterns and they're coming in, they're staying around. We're seeing the strong return of florals. Ditto for wallpapers, these big palm fabrics or big leaf fabrics, wallpapers, rugs, and fabric, and wallpapers, rugs, and fabrics. floral, as I was starting to say, having a really big hot return. And that's been happening for a while. And interestingly, we're seeing floral patterns in some cool colorways, you know, in like a cream and white colorway or a gray and cream colorway. It's not just about, you know, this kind of scalamandre, you know, color, so help me color, although we're seeing those kinds of 5 color and 7 color florals coming in as well. So floral, that fresh outdoors in kind of feeling, bringing the outdoors in, that's kind of something that we're seeing in that, within that biophilia kind of thing. Also, something we started to see really interestingly, a couple of, like about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago at the Kip Space Show House, we noticed that more and more designers were including an antique in their mix, or a really beautiful vintage piece in their mix. And I was excited to see that coming back because I really feel that that gives spaces a very collected kind of look. Now, here's what that doesn't mean. Here's what you can't do easily in that type of accent piece push that we're seeing. That Queen Anne cabriole leg cherry wood furniture that you have from the 80s, 90s, and early to maybe really 80s, 90s. Nuh-uh. That's really not what we're talking about. We're talking about something that is an aged piece, but that still has clean, clear, modern lines, simple, linear kind of lines. It also means that all of that country French provincial reproduction that was so popular in the early 2000s into the early to mid 2000s, that also is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about things that really are a clean look, but that are vintage or antique. What I just described with the cherry and the, you know, the that wanted to be, that look that wanted to be French provincial. There's a word in German called, and it's ersatz, E-R-Z-O-T-Z, I think, or T-O-T-Z. I don't know, I took French. But ersatz means a poor facsimile, a poor quality imitation of something. So that Queen Anne cherry wood, you know, dining room set that you have, 25 years old, 30 years old, that is trying to be 19th century Queen Anne furniture, right? And it looks very mass produced. It's not high quality, just like the country French provincial that just, you know, got onto steroids. That's also, those are more of like an ersatz look. Hard to get those pieces into what I'm talking about today for a very fresh look. But if you have antique pieces in your family that have simple lines, clean lines, whether it's mid-century modern, but I'm talking like older pieces, things that are from the early 20th century, early 1900s, clean, simple lines, you can have a really easy time getting something like that into an interior as a splash. And then another trend that we're seeing, let's talk a little bit about color, the incoming colors and the colors that are showing real strength. We're seeing navy continues, soft pale blues continuing, grays are continuing, they're turning more greigey, getting a little more beigey in tone. Splashes of black, really exciting, whether it's a banding added to something, whether it's a taped edge on a window treatment, really beautiful. We're also seeing cream, very strong. Greens are in that rich emerald stage, or some of them are now starting to go a little bit more olivey. The green that we're not seeing nearly as frequently is that mossy green that was so prevalent a few years ago. We're not seeing a lot of red, not seeing a lot of orange. That millennial pink, that blush pink continues, but most of the showrooms, manufacturers are just so solidly behind blue. And as you know, gray has been changing for a while. Got a cool blog post posted for you, ready to go. 3 of the top trends. I've talked about 2 of them, and talks about how you can use them. One of them also is the return of wallpaper, hot and heavy. And again, how you can use them in your home now without feeling like you have to throw the baby away with the bathwater, as if you've got to start over, start from scratch. So those are just a couple of things for you to think about. And in terms of design style, let's talk about that real quick. So, farmhouse had come in, and farmhouse is here. But now it's looking a little bit more like modern farmhouse, right? So we're finding that trends, as I said, they start to morph. they start to take on some flavors of another trend. So modern plus farmhouse, you get modern farmhouse. It's a little more farmhousey leaning than modern, but it definitely has clean modern elements in it. We're also seeing farmhouse glam, right? That whole glam trend added to farmhouse. It's still happening. Modern, always a great trend to get behind, always has legs. Traditional doesn't go away. It's just not the most popularly, it's not a new trend. And it's not necessarily where the newest thought is, but there are plenty of designers and plenty of design lovers who love the traditional trend and they are always on it. But how does this traditional trend change from year to year? The colors, the way the colors are being used, and also the furniture silhouettes and the kind of embellishment on them. Transitional blend between modern and traditional, still very strong, and all expectations are that that will continue as well. Cali casual, still having its, will always have its home out in California, right? Scandi modern, Scandinavian modern, still having its moment. Don't see that going away. Boho is definitely morphing and moving around. We're doing a boho project, I think I shared with you, but it's more of like a Parisian boho versus a farmhouse boho, or more of like an industrial boho. So you start to see how trends start to marry and meet. So hopefully that helps you as a quick update. But again, if you love the color red, you want to do splashes of red in your, I don't know, your XYZ room, do it. If you love orange, go for it. If you hate cream and you are more of a, or you hate gray and you're more of a tan person, I should have mentioned, tans are coming back in, those sand colors are coming back in, which is why gray is also morphing into more of a taupey kind of feeling. But again, you can avoid a trend color that you hate or style that you hate and embrace the ones that you love. And I have in my brain one day to do a little bit of an update in my own kitchen without touching any of the finishes that are in there. And I want to show you guys how you can just, with furnishings and lighting, start to edge a room into a new direction. But we're not doing that yet. But anyway, so, okay, questions coming in. Here I go. So Facebook, feel free to put in your questions, Insta as well. And so Stratum5014 on Insta has asked a great question. We get this question all the time. What about the white kitchen? And I'll tell you what, if you were at the Design Diva conference we did last year, I tell you, we had a whole panel of designers, and there was a kitchen designer in the panel, and somebody asked about the white kitchen, and the kitchen designer just did this. And I said, Kim, are you getting sick of the white kitchen? And she said, I designed them, they're beautiful, but I'm so tired of the white kitchen, I'd like for somebody to do something different. Here's the thing, white kitchens are beautiful. The white kitchen is changing. Why? Because people want something different. Now, it's not going away, it's just the type of white that's being used is changing slightly. So we're seeing a warmer white instead of just that, you know, white. We're seeing, you know, subway tile still out there, but you see people are doing a grout with a color, or a grout with a black grout looks fantastic, or the subway tiles running in a north-south, or it's in a zigzag, or it's in a herringbone, which is a broken zigzag. Or you're seeing subway tile in a white kitchen combined with another shaped tile as an accent running behind, let's say, the cooktop. So the white kitchen is not going away, but we are seeing in the luxury interior design world, we're seeing people trying to do white kitchens in a new way, where some cabinetry is white, some cabinetry is painted something else. Is it a color? Is it black? Is it gray? Not gray. Is it blue? Is it a green? Or the white kitchen cabinet combined with some stained cabinetry, but the staining that we're seeing, it's not a dark stain. It's like a pale cashew color. It's not that grayed down color either. So do I think the white kitchen is just going to take a nosedive? I don't. I think that it has a place. Oh, we're seeing the black and white kitchen really, you know, taking on some steam as well. Why? Because people want to get away from that builder white kitchen with the white subway tile. Because, you know, honestly, if you look at, you know, Pinterest, if you look at Instagram, if you look at TV shows, commercials, it's almost like, yeah, okay, there's a white kitchen. And so in the world of design, you have people saying, I love the white kitchen, but I really want something a little different. I don't want the same old, same old. That said, do I love designing a beautiful white kitchen? I do, but I try to do it in such a way that I'm doing something that's different, giving it a little bit more warmth and a little bit more of a spin. So Stratum 5014, I hope I answered you. And I don't have my crystal ball out, so I can't tell you when the white kitchen is just going to be done. But eventually it will be. It is a fool's errand to think that you can ever look at any trend and say, this will never be gone. Because black and white is classic. It is. Forget even in the kitchen, in a room. But it's the way it's delivered that will identify it as a trend. Eventually, 10, 15, 12 to 15 years, if you've done your job well as a design lover, you might eventually, 12 to 15 years in, say, you know what, I'm starting to feel like that needs some refreshing. If you didn't do your job well, you'll feel like you need to do that within five or 6 years, right? So let me see what Insta's saying. And I have a great word verb asked a great question. I will get to you, word verb. Okay, I'm getting a ton of hellos from everybody on Facebook. So I'm just going to hello and kiss you girls back to Florida and Tampa, to Jamie and Jane, and Becky's in from Alabama. The party can start, because I always say that when Becky's here, the party can start, because Becky's here from Alabama. Sally's here from Florida. Okay, I'm just going to say hello and hugs to everybody. I'm looking for the questions here. Hello from Jane. Okay, Jane is saying, we use vintage William and Mary gate leg tables behind our leather sofa. Suggestion for lighting on the table. Jane, I would really want to see I need to see a picture of this to be able to answer you well in terms of what kind of shapes you should use. So I'm sorry, babe. Jane, I think you're one of my students, though. I think you're in one of my private Facebook groups. All of our courses have private Facebook groups. And Jane, if that is so, if you're in a private group, you can post pictures of what you're working on. And I encourage you to do that so people can weigh in on things. All right. Brooke is saying she loves black or navy kitchen cabinets. I do too, Brooke. I, honest to goodness, do. I think if you take a black cabinet and you gloss it up a little bit, just a little bit of a sheen, a little bit of bounce, and you combine it with the right other materials, you can make it look so fresh, so spectacular. I'm getting chills just talking about it. Word verb is asking me, what design style is always in style? Ready? Modern. Mid-century modern. I'm telling you, even as collectible pieces, authentic mid-century modern pieces, they just hold their value. They're valid. So if you want something that always works, that's the style that you can just kind of bet on. I remember meeting with a client, gosh, like 7 or 8 years ago, and she was in her late 70s, early 80s, and she wanted to update her home, and she had so many amazing mid-century modern pieces. I said, look, we'll update you, but we got to reuse a lot of this. We'll recover things, we'll add some newer, fresher fabrics and so forth, but her pieces just held beautifully. And the other thing to know too is that, in interior design, trend style also follows countries, and it also follows different regions of the country. Even from the city to the suburbs, I'm based in the suburbs of my design company, and we don't get a lot of people asking us to do modern design, and we love modern design. We're designers in my company. We can do any style. So you, based upon where you live, if you live in New York City, you're probably doing a little more modern. If you're living in Dallas proper, in the city limits, you probably are a little bit more modern in what you're seeing there, as opposed to if you're out in the burbs of Philadelphia, right? So the region of the country you're in can also affect what's going on. All right, so Joel is saying, I live here in Bucks County, but I'm also building a vacation home in Florida. I guess I'm stuck in the 80s, but I feel like my taste for the new house is so different. Lighter, fresher, whiter. I guess it's normal to want to go very different in a different environment. Yes, it is. That's what I was just saying, that different regions of the country have different trend styles. I have a great group of designers that I mastermind with across the country, and the color palettes that my buddies in Austin and Georgia are using are different than what my clients are asking me for here for their residences in the Northeast. When we do a beach home for them or a vacation home in the Bahamas, then it's a different, different color palette, right? So Joel, you are right. Having different, the region you're in is going to affect the colors that you're attracted to, wanting to be surrounded by. You think of some of the Scandinavian countries, it can get a little darker there, shorter days. So yeah, they like really light colors, a lot of that whitewash. It lifts and opens up their spaces on those gloomy, dark, cloudy days or the shorter days, right? The longer nights. So great question. So Instagram, Liz is saying, so can I keep my off-white interior trim and door color? Yeah, I was thinking light bright, but maybe not. Okay, trim colors, that's a different conversation, Liz. If you want to go to a whiter trim for your crown, your baseboard, your doors, no problem. White is fabulous as a trim color. There are dirty whites, right? They have a little bit of a gray undertone, a little bit of a yellow undertone, a little warmer. That's fine, but I'm talking about the kitchens. I'm talking about kitchen cabinetry when I'm talking about that the whites are not that builder white. And I will tell you that even with trim colors, I often will warm up my trim color just a smidge, but it depends on what else is in there, right? It's all about the collected, the curated context of everything together, right? Design is an additive sport. It's the addition of everything together that gives you that end result. So great question, Liz. If you have a follow-up, please put that in. Okay, Sherry Cooperman is saying black lacquer dining room. I have to see it. Sounds good. I don't have a problem with it. Got to see what the silhouette is though of the furniture, right? Like I said, it's not the color that's out, it's the delivery that starts to change. It's the silhouette, the shape, meaning shape of the furniture itself. And Sherry, I think you might be in our private groups too, so feel free to post pics and say, hey guys, looking trendy or what, if you're feeling confused. Diane is saying, my kitchen cabinets and wood floor are both dark cognac. Current wall color is soft yellow. Okay, you're asking me to design for you. I need a picture. So I'm going to scooch on, Diane. I would do you a tremendous disservice to try to answer you without seeing what you're talking about, because describing color and describing things, that's just not how design works. And I want to give you great information, not a flippant answer. So I'm actually doing a favor to you there. But if you're in one of my private groups, you can always post pictures and people can weigh in. And if you're not in one of my private groups, maybe you want to join one of our online courses so you can really get some good strategy under your belt and be able to figure some of your path out. But for me to see pictures to be able to answer you well would be something wise for you and I to do there, Diane. So thank you, though. So Brooke is saying, what are your thoughts on black painted walls in a master bedroom that is narrow and long? Sounds kind of sexy. I think, you see, it depends what you're going to put in front of it. There's a lot of white, black and white, little splash of some sort of color. Is that going to happen as well? That could be really cool, Brooke. I'd love to see it. Would love to see it. Just before I came up here to work with you, to talk to you guys, I was down in our design studio, and I'm working on 2 different bedroom palettes. One is the sexy bedroom, and one is the restful bedroom. So it's the collected, curated color palette that's going to work with that black painted wall that you're talking about, right? If you started throwing a bunch of navy around in there and dark gray, it wouldn't work so well. Sherry, I see you're asking another question, but I'm going to keep going to people who haven't asked a question, so I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. And Katie's telling me final 2 questions, so let me scooch on here. How about, okay, Kathy Meyerhofer is saying, how about the longevity of the trend on painted furniture? Painted furniture, do you mean embellished furniture, like where it has flowers and things painted on it? That is gone, or that moment has passed as a trend, I should say. Or are you talking about that country French provincial? I have a chest in my home. I'm getting ready to paint it because it has that country French painted, embellished thing. It's very pretty, but that trend is past and I'm just over the look. Here's the thing though. If I loved that chest and I wanted to keep that chest, and I have kept it for a while because I do love it, stick with what you love. I'm not telling you you have to change things. This talk is about what's happening, what's coming in, what's leaving, and how can you, use snippets of trend to update what you own is something that rooms that you already have, that's something we cover in the blog. Okay. Brooke is saying, is there a black color I like best? Well, I think tricorn black. I always tell you guys, I will not give you a paint color, but I have to tell you, I think tricorn black, it's a Sherwin color. It's such a beautiful black paint color. It has a lot of blue in it and it's very bright. And when you give it a little bit of pop with sheen, don't do it in a matte, give it a little bit of lift or a lot of lift. So good. And also, I think Sherwin-Williams, I believe it's a Sherwin color, Caviar. That's really nice if you're doing like steel frame windows or repainting your windows to look like steel frame. It's not a bright black color the way tricorn black is. So there it is. But it's a cool color. Swatch them. Make sure you like them. Okay, Diane is saying, I would like to get the artwork to your guide. How many pages is the guide? Sorry to get off topic. It's about 21 pages, but a lot of it is this checklist of just idea, like a fire hose of ideas. So you literally are going through there as a kind of a workbook, isolating the ideas that you want to use for various rooms. And we have some resources listed for you in there too. No reason I'm listing those resources other than I think they're good resources for you guys to know about. So Diane, hopefully that works for you. Brooke is laughing at something I said. I hope it was good. Levon is saying, painted baseboard with stained doors and trim. Can you mix? Can you mix? Do you mean in a kitchen cabinet having painted baseboard on the cabinet and then the cabinet door goes to stain? Sounds odd, Levon. I would want to see what you're talking about. Alrighty, hopefully that helps you. And then I'm going to take one more question, and as I'm getting ready to do that, if you've missed any portion of this, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us at the Interior Design Advocate on YouTube. We not only post all of our Facebook Lives, but all of the other cool videos that we do for you guys. We post those too, so there it is. And if you're not following us on Instagram, girlfriend, I know you guys are because you're seeing me on Instagram. Hey, Facebookers. You are missing the party. Here it is. At decorating.genius, at decorating.genius for Instagram for the Interior Design Advocate. We teach in that Instagram feed. I joke around a little bit. We're coaching and teaching in that feed. And if you wanted to see what we're doing in our design studio, you should check out my feed at IDH Designs. IDH, like Interiors Donna Hoffman. But that's a cool feed where we're gonna start taking you into the studio more once I have the bandwidth to do that. But we're doing it. It's on the list at our meetings. At our meetings, we say, Donna, take people into the studio at IDH. So we're gonna do that. Okie dokie. So Felicia is saying I got hearts on that one. So hearts back to you on Insta. Felicia is saying I have an open floor plan and I'm trying to figure out how to design it. I love modern glam. What course do you offer that can help? Felicia, get thee to Decorating Genius System. That is the greatest course, and it's a game changer for people. And everything I teach in that, I show you how to put together rooms that are singular, connected, or open concept. As I spit all over myself. Oops. That was the excitement happening. And plus you've got this amazing private Facebook group, so you can post what you're working on, and people do. Like, hey, what do you think of this? And how do you like this better than that? And of course, you'll be posting not only questions, but your before and after once you get it all done. And I just get tickled down to my toes when I see what my students do. Like I said at the start of this Instagram Live and Facebook Live, you guys are so much more talented than you realize you are. You are smart enough to do this. You've got the talent to do this. I don't care what your budget is. Doesn't matter what you spend. What matters is what you do with what you spend, always. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. And then Tammy is saying, I'm planning on doing a major kitchen reno next year. I'm thinking of off-white cabinets, but I'm wanting to incorporate different shades of blue. Love the idea of a navy island. I do too. I want to use a pretty pattern tile backsplash. I love the way this is sounding, Tammy. I'm ready to come over and have tea with you or a glass of Pinot. So Tammy's question is, she wants pretty pattern tile backsplash with shades of blue and white. will these pattern tiles be out of style tomorrow, or should I stick with something more basic, modern farmhouse style? Okay, great question. I don't think that if you love something, I think you should do it, but I wouldn't throw it on your cabinets. Other than your island, that's fine. And if you ever had to repaint that island, you want to repaint that island black one day, or I don't know, pink or whatever, you could do it, right? But where your biggest nut is going to be, Tammy, the biggest financial nut is where, meaning, my dad used to say that, the financial nut. The biggest financial hit is going to be the cabinets themselves, the perimeter cabinets. So I think keeping those in your white, if you want long-term staying power. And what other tile could you put into that kitchen that you're going to love, that is not eventually 15 years from now, you're going to say, oh, there was a trend there. I think eventually white subway tile, people are going to say, oh, that was when everybody was doing shiplap and white subway tile. So know that tile is one of the easiest things to update and change out eventually. So I would do what you love. I hope I didn't confuse you, Tammy, but kitchens are a big expense, and I think you should do what you love. I wouldn't put my initials on the backsplash, right? But if you love something, and as you look at it, Tammy, lay it out, at least lay out your samples, and then ask yourself the question, would I be happier with that blue and white backsplash if it's just a flourish from floor to ceiling or floor to wherever behind my cooktop? Do a piece of it rather than having it everywhere. But I think you should do what you love. And it's always easiest, of course, to put the super trendy elements on your window coverings, on your upholstered chairs or bar stools or whatever you're doing at your bar stool, for your bar stools. Look, I love all in the kitchen that Tammy's describing, I love all the Parisian cafe chairs, those wovens. They're fabulous looking. I love them. They've been in Paris for a long time. Eventually, I don't know when, but eventually people will look at that trend and say, I know when that was done. Don't not move because you're afraid that eventually things are going to trend out. Eventually they will, but you start to update in 15 years or 20 years or 12 years to say, okay, I'm just going to swap out those two elements, and wow, the kitchen just reinvented itself. I'll change out my lighting, right? So I hope I helped you rather than confuse you, Tammy. So lovingly offered and respectfully offered as well. So listen, we've got to get out of here because we have to prep for a meeting that we have tomorrow. So next week, what are we talking about? We're talking about decorating on a budget and the high cost of furniture. I'm going to give you some great tricks and hacks around that, right? Decorating on a budget and dealing with the high cost of furniture. I'm going to give you a great little linchpin, is that what it's called? Keystone, a little entry point into a project. If you've got to really work with limited funds and you need new furniture and you really want to make your money go as far as possible, we'll talk about that. All right. Okay, lovelies. That is all she wrote. I'm sorry if I didn't have time to get to your question. We had to wrap here today at a particular time. Loved being here with you. I'll see you next week, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, for Decorating on a Budget and dealing with the high cost of furniture. Okay, lovely. See you next time. Bye. Hi, this is Donna. Thanks so much for watching. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and comment below so I know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to the Interior Design Advocates channel so you don't miss any of our great content.